Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Genesis of Tampa and Kingmakers of Tampa. I am your host, JP Peterson. After a weekend of digesting lots of football, a little bit of baseball, but man, it is definitely football season. Every time I turn on the TV, I even saw a high school football game this weekend, and we're ready in a $61 million stadium in Atlanta. It's a beautiful thing. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you?
I am doing good on this beautiful Monday. And don't forget, it actually is officially game week in college football, because on Saturday, this might be a little bit of a go down memory lane for you 1 year ago.
Yes.
You were unfortunately a part of the Ireland game, but Iowa State and Kansas State play a game in Dublin this Saturday. So it is game week in college football.
As a matter of fact, I spoke with Anthony Beck just the other day. He now known as the father of Rocco Beck, the Iowa State quarterback, although he's still doing the Jets games on radio and is a very successful coach in the XFL, soon to be a college coach. But actually, Anthony's going to join us tomorrow before he takes off for Ireland on Wednesday. So we will preview that game with son Rocco. That's a big game. I mean, it's a great conference game, just like last year's was, and really set Georgia Tech up for a great year.
Could be a Big 12 championship preview.
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah, obviously the win by Georgia Tech gave them tons of momentum and set them off for a real bounce back year. So much so that people are kind of talking about Georgia Tech and the dark horse ACC race. I don't think anybody's beaten Clemson, but they're a good squad, and they got an experienced quarterback in Haynes King. They got a really good coach. They got an excellent offensive line. They're a very physical team. I think Georgia Tech going to surprise some people this year. But that game, I think, was their springboard, and of course, it sent Florida State the other way dramatically. So it's a big game to start the season. So yes, very much looking forward to that. As is Rocco, and they've got. Tell you what, Iowa State's going to be a really good football team. We'll have Anthony kind of go through that. Still mind-boggling that with all the questions that Florida State has had at quarterback, that there was a guy right here in Rocco Beck who would have loved to play for Florida State University, but had to go to Iowa State to play. And it just underscores that, Mike Norvell has a lot of great qualities. Identifying quarterbacks is not one of them. Clearly, that is a blind spot for him, and that's not good if you're a college coach trying to recruit quarterbacks. But they got Tommy Castellanos. You call him Castellanos?
I was going to say, never fear, though. The Gus bus has arrived in Tallahassee, and, he's notoriously known how to develop quarterbacks, recently. So.
Are you being facetious?
Yes. Yeah.
And Anthony, I think we'll touch on this tomorrow. Malzahn's offense is a really good college offense. And yes, I think pro offenses are actually coming more to the college game than they ever have before. But it's not an offense where a kid who wants to be a professional quarterback is going to say, yeah, that's where I want to go. In fact, Rocco, was not that he was looking at all, but FSU came calling, everybody came calling. And, as of course they would want to get Rocco, a lot of D1 teams came calling. And, Florida State certainly was one of them, but they quickly decided with the Gus offense, yeah, that's not something that we're really, really interested in. So, moving forward, the really high level professional quarterback types are probably not going to look at FSU as long as Gus Malzahn is there as the head coach. I think that's fair to say. Now, that being said, these dual threat quarterbacks will love to play in this system. And, it's worked pretty good for Jalen Hurts. He's made a little bit of money and won a Super Bowl, been to another. So You could go at it either way. I think there's pluses and minuses. The bottom line is if you win with it, you're going to get great quarterbacks come there. If you don't, you're not. So that's kind of where that's at. All right. I mean to get off on an FSU tangent right away, but away we go. So let's get into Buccaneers on Saturday night and where we stand today as we head into the third preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the starters are not going to play. Baker didn't play the other night, but were you surprised that Teddy got the start over Trask?
Yeah, I think I was. And I tell you what,
I was very surprised.
I'll tell you what, I'll let you go on your monologue from what was your biggest takeaway, but I'll just immediately tell you, I understand this is professional sports, this is football, business, whatever. I felt bad for Kyle Trask because how many times has Kyle Trask got a chance to play with the Bucs' number one O-line and the number one operation? And we've all been saying all this time, why is it so uncertain for him being a backup quarterback? Because in all this time that he's been here, we've never really got a chance to see him play with the best dudes. And this was an opportunity to do it. And instead they allowed Teddy Bridgewater to do it because they wanted to see him against the starters. And so I kind of felt bad for Kyle Trask because, again, not saying he was set up to fail necessarily, but you can't look at his performance in that game and Teddy's and say that's a true apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, but I think it kind of goes to what the coaches think about Kyle Trask. And I think one thing we're not really looking at enough is Josh Grizzard. This is Josh Grizzard's first year working as the OC. Second year with the Buccaneers? Well, how many years has Josh been here? That's third year with him? I'm trying to remember when he got it.
Second or third. Yeah.
But point being is Josh Grizzard didn't draft Kyle Trask.
Right.
He doesn't have doesn't have a long-standing relationship with him like Todd Bowles and the rest of the organization. I think Josh Grizzard has soured on Kyle Trask. This is just my opinion. And them starting Teddy Bridgewater is proof positive of that to me. And the fact that 12 days into camp, he comes out there and throws 2 perfect touchdown passes. I mean, with touch, I haven't seen Kyle Trask throw the ball like that ever.
Not to cut you off too, but recall that Josh Grizzard was an offensive analyst in 2022 when Bridgewater was on the Dolphins.
Exactly. So he has a longer relationship with Bridgewater than he does Kyle Trask.
Yep.
And I think those 2 days that when Baker went down in practice a couple weeks ago, and those 2 days that Trask had the keys to the car with the number ones, all those that you just mentioned, right? It wasn't good. And I told you that those days of practice. Now, I think it got a little misconstrued because Bowles said Kyle had his best day of practice. But you can read that 2 ways, right? It was his best day. Doesn't mean it was good by overall standards. It was better than we've seen, but, was it good enough? And I came on the show then and I said it's not good enough. And I started talking about right then, the Bucs need to bring in a veteran quarterback because this isn't good enough. What I saw in practice the past couple of days is not good enough. And it's certainly not good enough for a team that's ready to win the Super Bowl, that if their quarterback went down for 3 or 4 weeks, that this guy's not good enough to get it done. And a lot of it is just, and I've said this for a long time, you could talk about his stature. Kyle's big enough. He's got a good enough arm. He can make the big throws. His problem is processing the information, getting the ball out quick. That's the number one thing for quarterbacks is to process the information. This is what you want to see. And you saw it even in game 1 when he held the ball a couple times. And there are, if you go back and look at the all-22, there are guys open. And this is what the coaches are looking at. This is what they look at. They'll say, okay, snap 1, 2, 3, where are you going with the football? And if you watch the good ones, and I put Teddy in that category, it's and with Kyle, it's like you can't do it. You can't do it. Not in this league. You saw Caleb Williams. I don't know if you watched Caleb last night. What we saw last night was a completely different quarterback than I've ever seen. He was getting the ball out. It was coming out on time. It had zip to it, and it looked really, really good. I've never seen that from Caleb Williams. It's look, run around, see what we can do. Not now. And that's what these coaches, the Ben Johnsons, the Josh Grizzard, this is what they want to see. Know what you're seeing. At the snap, you should know almost at the snap where you're going with the football. Even if it's your second or third read. You come up, you look at the defense, you see what the matchups are. You know what your matchups are. You know what the route combination is. And you know it's probably going to be your second or third read. So you're getting to it quick. That's what Teddy did. On that fourth down play, boom, boom, boom. He's right there to Shepard over the middle, and he's wide open. And he knew he was going to come open. But this is the anticipation that I just don't think Kyle Trask has gotten down. And if you don't have it by now, you're not going to have it. And I think it was also a mental check on Kyle Trask. Let's throw Teddy out there and see how Kyle reacts. Kyle didn't react very well. 3 for 10, 30 yards. Didn't have a possession. Every possession ended in a punt. He was awful. He was awful. And I think, and then last week, after in the post-game press conference, and I was asking Kyle Trask about, are you in a battle now for this job? And he was kind of, all I can do is control what I can control. And Rick Stroud asked him a question. He said, I haven't really gotten a clear answer whether I'm the number 2 or not. I'm sure the coaches kind of heard that and went, who cares what, you're going to decide whether you're number 2 or not us. You're going to decide. Play better. You have the inside track. You've had the inside track. We had to bring in Teddy because you weren't getting the job done. And so I think, Teddy comes in 12 days, throws 2 touchdown passes, the one to Ibuka, and he hasn't even been throwing to these guys. If you go out to practice, they run, everybody stacks in the lines or go by depth chart. Like the wide receiver lines, Mike's first, Ibuka's second, J-Mac is third, everybody lines up, Bucky's first, Rashad's second, everybody lines up by their depth chart. And so Baker throws to Mike, then Kyle throws some, and then by the time Teddy comes up, it's Tez or it's Ryan Miller, or he's not throwing to the number 1. He's not throwing a lot to Ibuka, but yet he can throw a ball to the corner of the end zone with great loft and anticipation, knowing that Ibuka is he's gonna have his guy beat and is gonna be able to make an adjustment on it and catch the football. That's what 12 years in the NFL gets you, and it's something that Kyle Trask does not possess and cannot possess because he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
And this may be a stretch what I'm going to say, but try to work with me as I connect it here because I'm thinking of it, but I haven't said it out loud yet. So we'll see how this goes. But it almost feels like what you got was sort of like a test run in terms of it's all hands on deck this year for the Bucs. And I think back to last year, Teddy Bridgewater was coaching at Miami Northwestern. He got signed right before the playoffs. By who? The Detroit Lions. You want to know why? Because the Detroit Lions, similar to Kyle Trask a little bit, had a backup quarterback, Hendon Hooker, who had not played at all. And the idea of the Detroit Lions being one play away from having to go to Hendon Hooker in the playoffs when they were all in, they couldn't stomach that whatsoever. And so that's why Teddy was brought in. And now the Bucs have gotten basically ahead of this before they even get to that point. And I think yesterday was almost like a case study, or yesterday, I think Saturday was almost a case study for this because he was told the night before, the morning of, that he was going to start that game, I think. It came out really late. And he's never really worked with these number 1s the same way a backup quarterback doesn't get a chance to really work with the number 1s, right? And then you go in there against, I know it was preseason, but that was the Steelers' number 1 unit, and that was a playoff team. So let's just say, in my sort of theory that I'm going with right now, call this you're playing a playoff defense, right? You're the backup quarterback. You haven't played with the 1s. Let's see how this goes. And look how comfortable he was. And I asked
It looked easy.
I hope that this is like what my point that I had in my head is like making sense as I say it out loud here, is that it almost served as a case study for the future, and that look at what happened when Bridgewater came in. Now ask yourself, could Kyle Trask do the same thing? And the Bucs don't know the answer, and what you don't know will kill you in the NFL.
Right. No, I think you're spot on. And, we're still talking about the backup quarterback position, which in the grand scheme of things, hopefully won't matter. But a lot of times it does in these, and especially the way Baker plays. And he's on a run where he's gone 3 seasons without missing a game. So, the numbers are what the numbers are.
I can say this too, whether it's Trask or whether it's Bridgewater or anything. I mean, the Buccaneers, they're not exactly lacking for talent on the offensive side of the ball at the skill positions. And that makes this really easy too. Like at the end of the day, if Kyle Trask is the backup quarterback and something happened to Baker and Kyle had to come in and start, is this offense going to crater all the way to like, oh, they could barely move the ball? No, it's not going to happen, because look at the skill positions. Look at the guys they have at the skill positions, and you look at the plays that Teddy made throughout the night. The throw to Bucky Irving, I mean, that's a tough throw to make, especially with the tight coverage that Peyton Wilson's, and you're throwing it to a running back. You're not throwing it to Mike Evans in that situation. You're throwing it to a running back. So the margin of error is even smaller. So it's a great play by Bucky, but the throw had to be there. And then the throw to Emeka Egbuka sort of reminded me, it happened in the same stadium 11 years prior. Mike Evans' first touchdown in the NFL was actually there in Pittsburgh. And it was kind of a similar play, back shoulder type of thing in the back of the end zone. I think Josh McCown was the one who threw it then. It reminded me of that. And Lord, I hope Emeka Egbuka has a similar career. But you watch him play, and I mean, I still am just amazed at the fact that the league let the Bucs get these 4 receivers. And we're not, and I know I say 4, including Chris, and I don't even know when Chris is coming back, but doesn't matter. And Jalen McMillan, I know he had the neck injury on the play. I was impressed by the fact that he still caught the ball and held on to it. Yeah. I mean, and Sterling Shepard, who we already talked about, might be a practice squad guy, and he'll probably be active for week 1 anyway. He's making plays on a big 4th down where they got 20. So regardless of who the backup is, I can't think of a better situation to be a backup quarterback for than for the Bucs right now.
So that's that situation. And here's the other thing. If the Bucs were to try to put Teddy on the practice squad or Trask on the practice squad, which one of those guys do you think it's possible that some other team will come take? You think anybody's coming to get Kyle Trask? No.
Tough to say.
No. Would somebody come get Teddy? Probably not. But of the two, if there was another quarterback situation where they didn't feel like they, maybe even Detroit, maybe, who knows? I think there's a better chance that somebody would look at, especially what Teddy did this week, and say, you know what, he's better than what we have as a backup. We're going to get him. We're going to claim him. So now Teddy would have to decide whether he's, if he's going to retire or do whatever. But, so there might be a little bit of leverage there. But for the most, I just, as a question, who do you think has a better chance of getting to the practice squad? Clearly, it's Trask. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. They have to guarantee Teddy's salary if he's, the number 2 guy. But why at this point? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get? I mean, it's $1.5 million or whatever it is. It's not that much money. So why not just guarantee it? If that's the backup quarterback, I wouldn't have any problem doing that at all. Sterling Shepard might be a little bit of a different situation, but for Teddy, I think it's a no-brainer. I just put him,
I chuckled. I just chuckled because Tim Hammond is in the chat right here, and he brings up a good point. Dallas might come for Teddy after what Joe Milton. Oh my goodness, have you seen the Joe Milton experience for the Cowboys this preseason?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little interesting there.
He's got a strong arm, though.
Oh, yeah.
Really strong arm.
Yeah.
Really strong.
I think we could stop it right there when it comes to the positives.
He could throw it right through the hands of defenders like nobody I've seen.
You know who else has a strong arm? Trey Lance. Where'd that get him?
Good morning, Tim. Why don't you just pop right in?
You want me to? I don't know if I
Sure,
don't know how
why
I look
not?
at the camera right
Why
now.
not? The more the merrier, brother. If you're up and around, sure. Good morning. How are you?
There I am. Oh, we can't be in the middle. What's
You
up,
just,
boys?
you just can't stay away. You just can't stay away.
I know. It is what it is.
Yeah. Did you watch the Bucs game Saturday? Of course.
I did.
Yeah. Your
Super
thoughts?
Bowl, boys. Super Bowl. Yeah, Philadelphia. We're coming for you.
Ain't no doubt about that. It's a
The only
preseason
thing-
game.
the only-
Fun.
only trepidation I have is I still really need to see Baker. We haven't seen him this year, and rightfully
I
so.
have.
Well, you have, but not in a game.
No, I don't need to see him in a game. He's good.
You know who
And
else I need to see? I need to see more of Mecca. I need some more of Buka.
No, you don't. You know what? I might just throw you out now.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I think the team looks really good, man. I'm impressed with what I saw the last couple of weeks. I'm sure I'll be impressed after week 3 of the preseason, and I'm excited for this thing moving forward. And can we finally stop talking Rays and start focusing on the Bucs?
Yeah, I don't know how much Rays we're going to talk after.
I don't even know if the Rays are on the rundown today, to be honest with you.
You know what I have on the rundown is Topkin wrote a story this weekend about what the new owners might do. A lot of stuff that we've already covered, but I do want to hit into that a little bit. So, all right, Timmy, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Boys. Have a good show. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
See you. So other things and much more important things to talk about in this is another 3 picks for the Buccaneers. And I know a couple of them are, Greer, but Vildor's going to play. Like, he's going to have to play, especially with all these injuries now that we have. So the other things that are more important are, I don't think Jalen McMillan is a serious injury, but neck injuries are weird. They're weird, and you just don't know, which is why they had him in a neck brace after the game, which looked horrible, but is much more precautionary than anything else. You just want to make sure that, because you just don't know about neck injuries. But I think he's going to be fine. But you lost J.J. Roberts to season-ending knee surgery. That's not good. Izzian goes out with an oblique. That's not good. He's a very important. He played 70% of the snaps last year on defense, and he's better this year.
Yeah.
Those are two losses. So now we're sitting here with Wirfs out for a couple games. Godwin out for at least probably 4. We're not sure. We still haven't seen him run. We still have not seen him run, and we're 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks from.
Todd Bowles has a little bit of like Ray's front office in him, where they tell you something about an injury, and it's like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, or blah blah blah, and then like all of a sudden, a month later, it's like, oh, by the way, Chris Godwin had another surgery on his ankle this offseason. Right. But don't be alarmed. We figured this was going to happen, even though it's August 18th, and Chris Godwin is not even like running at all. Let alone cutting or trying to simulate game action. I mean,
football.
Do anything football related, and yet they tried to tell us that the Emeka Egbuka, we didn't. It had nothing to do with Chris. Yeah, it had everything to do with Chris Godwin. It had everything to do with Chris Godwin, and you see why. Yeah,
I mean, I think Rondé spilled the beans on that a few months ago on his show. Yeah, it had everything to do with it. So we're worried. I think we're worried, and rightfully so, about Chris Godwin when he's going to get back. And by the way, how good is he going to be when he gets back?
Right. We saw this before in 2022. I mean, he was not Chris Godwin that year at all.
He was I would say he was about 70, 75%. It was still good for 1,000-yard season.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is you're not asking him to be, the guy he was last year for this team, right? With Emeka and Jalen. Yeah.
And Jalen, yeah. So, but my point is, the injuries are starting to mount up. I mean, you already had David Walker, so now you got Roberts out. Now Izzian's out. We don't know for how long. Benjamin Morrison, we expect him to be back, but again, this is hamstring stuff. So does it linger?
I was just going to bring up him. I was just going to bring up that position, and you were kind of talking about the secondary with Roberts and everything going down, but I'm not going to overreact to a preseason game, but also we've been watching Jamel Dean since 2018 or 2019, whatever it is. Not a good night. Not a good night for Jamel. And I think Todd said something about his eyes were sort of like wandering on the field, and that contributed to some of his issues or whatever.
What was he looking at?
I don't know. And this is not exactly the greatest receivers and quarterback who was playing for Pittsburgh that night, by the way, that he was getting beat on. But that's the thing that's so disappointing right now. And maybe the most disappointing thing about, this offseason is they brought in Benjamin Morrison to provide competition for Jamel Dean. And I am in the camp of, if Benjamin Morrison was out there, I don't think it would be a contest that he would be able to overtake Jamel Dean's starting spot. But because Ben Morrison can't get on the field because of these damn hamstring injuries, and those are so touch and go, And not to mention, he came into the league already with injury concerns as it is. Jamel Dean has just sort of been allowed to maintain his spot. And when you had nobody pushing you, I mean, I don't feel like you're able to like notch it up to a different level like we think we were expecting that to be with that cornerback competition. So I really need Benjamin Morrison to get back healthy, but what's the chances of him getting back to practice this week and then also being able to play in this last preseason game? Probably not good. So the first time you're going to see Benjamin Morrison is when we're playing real games, and he's not going to start over Jamel at that point. So Jamel's your guy.
And I think I wonder if, Dean's wandering eyes and subpar performance in this preseason game had anything to do with Benjamin Morrison not playing and hasn't played for a week or so. I just, it's a preseason game. Jamel's, he's been a starter, won a Super Bowl. He's done all this stuff. Preseason games don't mean squat to him. But if you're in a true competition for your job, maybe it should. Maybe it should. And the fact that maybe he doesn't feel that now that Benjamin Morrison has been sidelined, whatever it is, I'm not going to overreact to it, but it just, it'd be better. Zion's out there busting his ass, making a great pick.
Yes.
I mean, how good was that pick? I mean, that was something that we've been really looking for Zion to do. And I've talked to him over the course of his career, coming in from Sam Houston State. I think it was all the measurables you'd ever want in a corner, but was just super raw. And more than anything, didn't have the confidence to play at the NFL level. He's been developing that along the way. And that confidence goes to that split second where you're either going to play the man and tackle him as he catches the ball, or you're going to play the ball and attack the ball. Now, obviously, the difference is there. You can miss the tackle and he could score an overtime touchdown like we saw last year. That's no good. But you've got to have that confidence where you're just gonna. And he was on that great trail technique, and he just went for the ball and he snatched it and he made the play. Yeah. That can have residue to the regular season. When it comes to that moment of truth for the defensive back, these guys are now told, go for the ball. Go for the ball. We'll live with whatever happens. We need turnovers. Mm-hmm. We need picks. And I think that was a perfect example of a moment of truth. He said, I'm going for the ball, and he snatched it. And I think that's going to pay dividends in the regular season.
And don't forget, what was it, about a week and a half ago at training camp that one Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, was around Bucs camp. Why was he there? Because Zion wants a new contract. Well, you know what? If you want a new contract, first of all, there's a long line of guys who are going to need a new contract here for the Bucs, but we'll figure that out down the road. But if Zion wants that contract and he wants to be paid like a number one corner, which I think he believes he should be, go out there this year and, you know what? Give me 5 interceptions. Give me 5 interceptions. When's the last time a Bucs corner has had 5 interceptions in one season? Can anybody remember?
You'd have to go back to Rondé.
I mean, do I got to go back to Rondé and the Brian Kelly days to find that one? I mean, if you want to be the number one corner and be paid like it, someone give me 5 interceptions on this team. At the very least, let's have more than 7 interceptions as a team for the entire 17-game season. But it seems like there's been an emphasis on that, and I'm liking what I'm seeing overall from this Bucs defense.
So I'm looking at Jamel's contract, and let's see, this year he's at 12.5, and I don't believe that's guaranteed. So I think his guaranteed money has run out. So he's at 12.5 this year and $13 million next year. So my guess is that after this season, that money gets moved over to Zion McCollum. And I think they'll probably trade Jamel and kind of like following in the footsteps of the Carlton Davis situation. So that was good. And Vildor got another pick. Greer got a pick that set up the game-winning touchdown. That's 6 picks in 2 games compared to 7 all of last year. It's not just, that's not just luck. That is emphasis on getting the ball, attacking the ball, and a different scheme in the back end where their coverage is so much tighter. The emphasis on it is so much tighter. And I love that. That may be the biggest story of preseason in my mind is the coverage, what the secondary is doing. But man, if we keep having secondary guys drop like flies, and Jacob Parrish again making plays, that kid, whew, he's a player, dog. He is a player. I think if you line up today, it's unfortunately Dean, soon to be Morrison, I think, McCollum at the corners, Tyke and Winfield at the safeties. And I think since Isian's hurt now, it's Parrish in the slot. Would you agree?
I wouldn't. I don't think they would have done it to start the season, but I wouldn't have even been imposed if they thought Parrish should be the starter week 1. I think he's been that impressive, to be honest with you. And I think his skill, he had another pass breakup in this game. I think that's where he seems to be further along than they even thought he would be. Yeah. So I kind of like the
run, had the tackle for loss. I mean, yeah, he's just really good.
Yeah, again, we're seeing some nice, some stuff there from the secondary, like we've been mentioning, and even the linebacker crew. Again, I thought, what was it, Martin? I always get his first name wrong. Nick Jackson. I'm sorry, I don't know where I came with. I'm thinking of Nick Martin rather, but Nick Jackson gets another sack, obviously. Because there's a lot of different linebackers named Nick around the league, and I'm thinking of Nick Martin for the 49ers. I don't know why, but Nick Jackson, sorry. He gets another sack the other night. And even John Bullock, leads the team with 4 tackles that night and gets a sack too. Like, all these linebackers are making plays, which I'm pleasantly surprised to see. And that's another one, Anthony Walker, if you're not on the field, you're not on the field. And if you're not, I understand he's a veteran, but it's not like he's a great player necessarily. So maybe a chance for, Nick Jackson to make the squad and maybe get some snaps too, along with Servasi and Levante, of course. So I like the depth and the competition they've had at those 2 spots.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get to all the comments. Nathan, James, all you guys, we see you in there. We're going to come right to you when we come back. We got a lot more on the Bucs that I want to get to. Also want to get to the Rays, the road trip, what the new owners are planning. We got some information on that. We're going to definitely talk about Scotty Scheffler. I got a great stat on Scotty Scheffler for you as well. And lots of college football news to get to as well. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Keys Law Group, KEYSLawGroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get the results. Go to the website, tell them Safety, 930 Spokesman Offices, Tampa, and St. Pete. Also, OnSiteConstructionFL.com for restoration, for new construction, commercial, residential, whatever you need. It's OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Go to the website, and you can go ahead and schedule that initial visit, which is free. And Jason Bossett will come out to your home and tell you what's possible, and you will get on the preferred client list. So if there's a hurricane, you know who your contractor is. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for 0 premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for 0 monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine & DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine & DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine & DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine & DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. Don't forget, whenever you go to a football game or a baseball game, stop by Riveters, just less than a mile south of Raymond James Stadium and the time. Great food, fantastic food. Everything is fresh. No freezers there except for the ice cream. And if you have not had the burgers there, absolutely fantastic. If you have not had the prime rib tacos, amazing. The wings are incredible. Such a great atmosphere and fantastic staff. I always love saying that because service is everything, right? When you go out to eat, you're paying a lot of money, not at Riveters, but other places. And if the service isn't good, it sucks. But the service is always good at Riveters. They have a great staff there. So head on in and tell them JP sent you. All right, let's get to some of the great comments coming in from the lads. Good morning to you, Nathan Elliott. Michael LaRue says the Lightning outdoor game is $172 just to get in the door. What'd you expect? What did you expect, my friend? Is that a lot? That doesn't sound like a lot.
I mean, listen, I think times have gotten even worse than they were, in 2022 when they had the game in Nashville, which we both were at. I want to say I paid like $250 a ticket in 2022 to get in.
In Nashville?
So, in Nashville, yeah.
Yeah, I think I did too. Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Those were like end zone tickets. They weren't great tickets, but everybody's watching it on the Jumbotron anyway.
Right. So 170. I mean, it's a premium event that never going to happen maybe ever again after this. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But I did hear that the pre-sale opened today for like Bolts for Life's people, and eventually it'll get down to the normal fans. But
yeah, and I don't know how many are going to be left though. That's for sure. Richie P says the Athletic is saying Bengals brass would take a promising young player at a first-round pick for Hendrickson. Apparently, a team offered Cincy a second. I wonder who it was. Listen, I know everybody's talking about this or the Bucs involved. If you bring him in, and I saw a ridiculous thing by Mike Tannenbaum last week. They were talking about potential trades, and I think this was for
Micah Parsons. Yeah,
Micah Parsons, Vita Vea, Bucky Irving, and a first-round pick. Come on, Tannenbaum. Are these supposed to be like real offers? Are you out of your mind? But for Hendrickson, if you trade for him, where does he play? He takes Yaya's spot?
You got to also pay him what he wants. And judging by the fact that they can't get anything like done at all, I have to think Trey wants $40 million plus.
Yes.
Because that's been the going rate for his caliber of player. And that Jason Licht's not giving someone $40 million plus dollars.
No, how do you do that when you're paying Mike 20, you're paying Baker 33? It completely upsets the apple cart. As great of a player as he is, would he help this defense? Absolutely. But you have to look at it from the whole. You're paying Hassan Reddick $14 million. I know it's just a 1-year deal. Yaya Diaby, is an up and coming player. Where you bring him in, where's he going to play? I mean, does he take Yaya's spot? I don't know. So I don't think the Bucs are a player in this for multiple reasons. I know, sure, he would look great in a Bucs uniform, but again, and you'll find a place for him. But if you're going to spend that much money, and you're going to spend, I guess you would trade Yaya as being the promising young player. But then you're going to be paying a 34-year-old.
I was going to say,
$40 million a year.
I would entertain it if it was Micah Parsons, absolutely, because I'm getting 26 years old, and I'm paying for the rest of his prime.
Right.
For Trey Hendrickson, I'm paying for one more probably great year of production, and then I'm going to start getting diminishing returns rather quickly. And that's not the things Jason Licht does. He just doesn't do that.
I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit for either one, because Parsons, again, and the Bucs have the cap room. They can do this, but they've got to pay Gedeke. They're going to have to pay Zion McCollum. They're going to have to pay Cody Mount coming up. There's other guys that are going to need to get paid, Cade Otton. And I'd just rather keep the core together and spread the money out than bring in somebody like that. Because, I think Hassan Reddick, it's a 1-year deal. If he plays well, does he stick around? And what's the number? It's not 40. It's not 40. So you got a guy same age, marginally the same production. We'll see what he does. And I think it's a really big gamble, and I think it throws everything out of whack.
Yeah, from the Bucs thinking, I think what happened last year to Hassan Reddick, they've completely thrown that in the garbage can. Yeah. And so in their mind, they're like, hey, we acquired a pass rusher on the cheap because look at his previous 4 years where he was a Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber pass rusher. We already have that guy. So in their minds, they don't even need to even entertain going after one of these other guys that's on the market. I think that's how they play that.
I agree, 100%. Mike H says, hey, we have Monday Night Football tonight, Washington versus Bengals. Jaden's going to play a couple of series. And I think Burrow's going to play because Zach Taylor's kind of said we want our guys playing in the preseason. I know they already played. I think they're going to play tonight. You think? Burrow and the boys?
From a viewer standpoint, I'd like to see them play.
Yeah. But they played last week, and Chase had a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, they looked like they were pretty locked in.
They're ready to go. Yeah. What else we got here? James says, yes, Caleb played well, but on Get Up, it was like he's now the MVP candidate. Also, Get Up downplays Jackson Dart, who has performed all preseason. Yeah, Caleb's the he's the needle mover in terms of ESPN that, where they want to put their promotional eggs in that basket. No question about that, because it's a big market. It's a huge story. I was very impressed with Caleb. I was really impressed with him. It's preseason. It's vanilla defenses. I get it. But I thought he took huge stride. And listening to Ben Johnson talk about him, he's very measured. He's not, this, Caleb's going to be the greatest thing ever. He says, he has a couple good days and then he has a bad day. And we're just trying to get that consistency out of him. So he's not creating ridiculous expectations like ESPN is. By the way, speaking of ESPN, huge story over the weekend. They have tanked the Colin Kaepernick series. The much ballyhooed Spike Lee Colin Kaepernick series has been tanked by ESPN. Doesn't mean it's not going to go forward someplace else, and I think it will. But this is very, very interesting to me over creative differences. What happened last week? Did the NFL get in bed with ESPN? Yeah. NFL is taking over the NFL network, and the NFL is getting 10% of ESPN. So clearly, we know what this Colin Kaepernick Spike Lee thing was going to be about. It was going to be a very one-sided political statement about Colin Kaepernick. And it was going to go on for months and months and months. The NFL has just probably now recovered from all that divisiveness, if you will. And they want no part of that. They want no part of that. So this was the payoff to ESPN. I mean, they got the red zone. They got the NFL. Really, like we were all shocked by that deal. And here's the interesting part. The Trump administration has to sign off on this. You don't think the Trump administration had some interest in tanking the Colin Kaepernick saga? I'm just going to keep it real here and say, yeah, they did. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And just knowing how this thing was going to be produced from Spike Lee, it wasn't going to be a balanced documentary. Let's just put it that way. And we'll see when it comes out, because I'm sure Netflix will pick it up or somebody else will pick it up. But it's not going to be ESPN, and I just think it's the timing of that was very, very interesting. For years and years, Spike Lee's been working with ESPN on this, and now suddenly there's creative differences. Very interesting. Very interesting story. What do you guys think?
I thought the big ESPN news that you were going to talk about was the fact that Rich Eisen is hosting SportsCenter tonight for the first time in like 20,000 years.
Is he now?
Yeah, he's 11 o'clock SportsCenter tonight. Rich Eisen hosting, because remember his show is returning to ESPN now on ESPN Plus, I think, or this new direct-to-consumer thing.
Very interesting how ESPN has taken a turn away from some of their past stuff because it was killing them. Absolutely killing their stock price. Whether they can ever recover, I don't know. We'll see. James says, there's no question Teddy will be QB2. That is why he was brought in. I don't think, like PR, that he won't be QB2 until mid-late season. Grizzard coached Teddy in Miami. It's a done deal. I agree. I thought it might take till week 3 or week 4, but after what I saw this week, I think it might be sooner than that.
Would be hilarious if Todd Bowles decides for the third preseason game to not even play either of them and just give Bazelak all the snaps and just let us just wonder even further. That would be. No,
I think you got to get Teddy. You got to get Teddy some snaps. You got to get him working. It's a great opportunity for him to work and call this offense. So yeah, I think you got to get Teddy a bunch of snaps. Obviously, he's going to be playing behind the second line with the second receivers, but I think he needs to get in the flow of the plays and executing the plays. I think that's so I think Teddy starts, Kyle comes in, and I think Kyle's got something to prove. If he, I don't think it's beyond the pale that I don't think you want to throw away Trask and all that he's learned. He knows the offense. He could run the offense in a pinch, so I don't think you just want to get rid of him. But I think it matters from the beginning who's 2 and 3. So we shall see. It'll be interesting to see. Richie P says, throw in the fact that Teddy can also share some behind enemy plans having played with Detroit. Yes, of course. Yeah, Teddy's not going.
He is. I was going to say he's basically a coach. No, he is a coach. He's literally an extra coach out there too, which is extremely valuable. Because you remember, Tom Brady wanted a veteran, even as a backup quarterback. That's why Blaine was there, and now he could be this for Baker. Because what is Baker going to bounce off of Kyle Trask?
Nothing. Nothing. Bucs Basement says red flags already for Bowles. He's giving Jamel Dean the Devin White 2022 treatment, even when he was costing us games. Dean was terrible on Saturday. Yeah, we kind of talked about this last week when the whole Devin White story came out. Jason Light saying, knowing what he knows now, he wouldn't have drafted him. Nick, I don't think you've gotten a chance to discuss that. Did that surprise you at all?
No, I think I'm more surprised that Jason actually said that, in an interview that was going to be posted on The Athletic of all things. I'm who me to tell Jason what to do. I don't think I would have aired that out. Maybe it just seemed like something that you didn't need to air out there. But was he lying? No. I think we all knew that. But it was pretty open. Even the one about Deshaun Jackson too, pretty open about that one. These are all things we've known. It's just you usually don't see GMs just on the record go and admit that like that.
Yeah, true. But I think to Richie's point, I said last week, one of the things that I think Todd Bowles doesn't do well, I think he's too protective of his players. I think he's too loyal at times. And it's one thing to say, when we're constantly asking about Devin White's mistakes, it's one thing to say, he's got to play better. It's another thing to say, he makes plays I've never seen any other linebacker play from sideline to sideline. And Bowles covered for Devin for far too long, in my opinion. And again, who am I to tell Todd Bowles how to run his business? Because he's doing pretty good. And that loyalty is the reason why we have the culture that we have now. In certain isolated cases like Devin White, I think we all could agree that maybe he was too loyal to him. But in the end, I think that's why these players play so hard for him. So it's kind of like it can be a blessing and it can be a curse. But I think overall, that's the reason these guys love to play for Todd Bowles, is they know he has their back.
But I was going to say, in the Jamel Dean case, we already talked about the fact, his competition is not on the field. So I don't view this as a situation of he's covering for Dean or protecting him or just, being too loyal to him. Who else is he going to give a shot to right now? Who do you want? Name a name. Who do you want taking reps with the ones right now that currently is healthy?
Maybe Parrish.
But Parrish is playing nickel. So
right.
An outside corner. who are you going to throw out
Parrish
there?
can play outside too.
I guess Bryce Hall, but
Right. Yeah, Bryce Hall could. Yeah, absolutely. A healthy Bryce Hall. Yeah. But even at that point, I would say Jamel's better.
Right.
So, look, Jamel's not terrible. We're not cutting him. That's for sure. We have the money to pay him this year.
Yeah.
He's not terrible. No. He can cover. He's a good cover guy. He just doesn't make plays on the ball. Even this past week, he was kind of in position to make plays. He just doesn't play the ball. He can cover guys. He can run with guys. He just never plays the ball very well. Black Spaceman says, I also think it's time to call Chris Bustwell what he is, a bust. Second-round pick should not be struggling against backup offensive linemen and should have their presence be felt. Hey, he had a sack.
He played well. He played well the other night. And he pushed the pocket, resulted into one of the interceptions too.
Yep, absolutely. So, and it's coming off a week where everybody was like, dude, you got to show something.
Right.
And I think Chris has been a little in his head, and he's even admitted that. He's been a little in his head that he's just thinking too much out there. Or maybe last week he just finally said, F it. I need to start playing and stop thinking. And look what we got. It looked like it. It literally looked like it. I was in fact, the play that he got the sack on, there was a third down play, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to zero in on Chris right here. I'm going to just watch him and not the ball. And I'll be damned if he didn't get off the ball, dip down, shake, just kind of punch up, and get right past the offensive lineman and blindside the quarterback. And I'm like, it's like he wasn't thinking about anything. He just went for the quarterback. I'm like, There you go. And then a few plays later, it was that bull rush, and he just took the offensive tackle right back into the quarterback, and that was on Vildor's interception. So, it does happen this way, folks. Sometimes the light comes on, and it's a totally different player. So, look, if gun to my head right now, is Chris Braswell ever going to be a consistent factor coming off the edge? Probably not. Can he give us, good backup snaps, 6 or 7 sacks a year? Yeah, I think he could do that. And at this point, I'll take it. I'll take him being the next Anthony Nelson at this point. No, I mean, you can laugh, but you need that guy.
I know. You need that guy. It's just Anthony Nelson, you found that guy in the 4th round, not the 2nd round. You're looking for a little bit more impact in the 2nd round.
True. But at this point, would you take it? Yeah.
There are worse careers to have.
Yes, absolutely. That's not a bust. That's not a bust career, even as a 2nd round pick. Bucs Basement says this team is in some serious trouble if we lose Hassan Reddick at any point in this season, because after him, our edge depth is pretty abysmal. I would agree with that. When David Walker went down, that became the situation.
And that's the other thing, too. Braswell doesn't have David Walker to push him either, like we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So.
Mike Stover says Bridgewater would be good for gadget plays. I'm not sure I follow that. I'm not sure if what, as like a receiver, lining him up as a receiver or something.
If Baker Mayfield's healthy, then no other quarterback is getting a snap in any play.
Exactly. Yeah. Buck Spaceman says, James, bro, Wadeen was terrible against the Steelers. He literally allowed big time plays and a touchdown. Look, it's preseason. Let's not go too crazy about it. All right. Richie P says the Athletic is saying Bengals brass would take a promising young player and a 1st round pick for Hendrickson. Yeah, we did this one before. I just don't see him being a fit. What else we got? Rick says, Tim, trade Teddy for Micah. Think they'll do that? Can you imagine Micah Parsons coming here? Like like when we talk about a good fit, culture, team first, he's a hell of a player. And I'll take the chance that maybe he's a little bit not our cup of tea, depending on what we would have to give up for one season.
But what's wrong with him from that standpoint, though? I mean, what has he ever done to cause problems or anything like that?
I mean, the podcasts, he says some provocative things. He said some things about his teammates. I'm not saying he's wrong, but
I think at some point the Bucs have plenty of, good soldiers and guys who say all the right things and are quiet and everything. Eventually they are going to have to get, I don't want to call him, I'm not saying Micah Parsons is an asshole, but eventually they're going to have to get like an asshole type in the building. I would think. I think the 2020 team had some, and definitely the 2002 team had some too.
Yeah. James says the problem is if Izzian is down for a while, it puts more pressure on Tyke being healthy at safety, or else we have last year all over again. Injuries on defense destroyed the Bucs last year. This has to stop. I agree. And I know some of you are blaming the training staff. Come on. It's football, man. It's football. It's football in the heat. They're doing the best they can. I'm not going to blame the training staff. Everybody's got injuries all over the league. Meets McGee with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Meets McGee. Appreciate you, buddy. Said, JP, we both watched a lot of football. I think the Bucs will be coming out of this injury bug by midseason. I don't see it lasting 2 full seasons. I mean, I think the good news is Wirfs will be back and we'll have fresh legs. Hopefully that's not a lingering knee injury. I don't think it will be. Godwin, I think, is a huge question mark at this point.
I'm more concerned about Chris than Tristan.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. Like I think, if the Bucs drop the first 2 games of the season and they're 0-2 going into week 3 against the Jets, I think you're going to see Tristan Wirfs out there, even if he's not 100%. because at that point, all hands will be on deck.
And let's be honest, that was a good front they faced on Saturday night, and they abused Charlie Heck and Graham Barton
It was
in
one
the run
play.
game. It was one game. It wasn't, well, they didn't play the whole game.
Well, no, one game. I meant one play. The one play is what I'm talking about, where Charlie Heck, Highsmith just blew by him. I'm talking about in pass pro. They were bad in
12
run
yards on 8 carries.
Yes, they were bad in
one play.
They were bad in run block, but I'm saying in pass pro, outside of the one play that Charlie Heck had, they were pretty dominant.
I'm talking about run blocking.
Run block was a little concerning the other night.
And the question is, when you have 4 starters out there, is missing one starter, does that affect your running game that much? It shouldn't. It will affect it some. And maybe the fact that it is Tristan Wirfs and how much they ask him to do in the run game and how much they depend on him in the run game, maybe it is a bigger effect than we think. I think at this point, after what I saw Saturday night, I don't want to panic, but it bothered me. If you go back, turn on that tape, it's not good. It's a whole lot of nowhere to run.
Yeah. I think a lot of it fell on Barton too.
Yeah. To that point, Michael LaRue says Wirfs is the best left tackle in NFL. His absence is not a big deal. First-time play caller Grizzard will figure it out. Just keep a tight end in on every play. It's like playing with 10 men. Problem solved. Well, Michael, that's a big problem. Playing with 10 guys is not good. Every X and O play, you're trying to get that extra man advantage. That's the whole idea of drawing up plays, is to get that extra man advantage. And if you're already giving that up on every single play, that ain't good.
Yeah, and which tight end has to be back there to block? O'Keefe?
Yeah.
You want O'Keefe taking up a spot on the field like that? No. It
matters. It really matters. Now, you got to coach around it, and Grizzard will have to do that. But to me, I'm like, as I sit here today, I'm like, this offense is really good. The offense is good because they are a kick-ass run offense, and that sets up the play-action pass. Everything revolves around the running game. Now, could you still just throw it 50 times and score some points? Yes. With this group, you could do that, but puts more pressure on your defense. Yeah, it's not where you want to be. It's not winning complementary football. So if Wirfs not being in there affects it that much, I think Charlie Heck's a pretty good run blocker. That's kind of been his thing. Like, we were more worried about the pass pro, and it's kind of been – pass pro's been good. What we saw the other night was not great. But it wasn't just Charlie. It was the whole offensive line.
Right.
Was getting beat. So I'm not going to panic, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on. That's for sure. Yeah. Andre All Day 20 says it's good to know Jalen McMillan will be fine. I think we know that. Michael LaRue, we talked about Rocco Beck at the top of the show. Didn't USF pass on Rocco Beck? Yes, he did. Yes, they did. USF, FSU, Florida, all passed on Rocco as a high school. They all tried to get him after his freshman season and sophomore season, but kudos to him and his dad and his family for staying at Iowa State with Matt Campbell, great coach. They've taken care of him from an NIL standpoint. They lost the 2 best receivers, but went out and got 2 really good ones for him. It's a pro style offense, and he's staying at Iowa State, and I think that's super smart. Super smart continuity. And look, you're at Iowa State. You're getting plenty of recognition. You're getting plenty of airtime. Everybody's on TV. You're going to have the only game on TV this weekend, and it's a big game for Rocco. It's a huge game. If he has a really big game, that could set him up for dare I say, a Heisman season. Dark horse. I mean, he could
loaded field.
Be that good. Yeah,
loaded field.
Yeah, I mean, playing in the Big 12, so it's not that it's the greatest defensive conference of all. Yeah. James is calling me out here. If I can get this one up here. Don't straddle, JP. Just say it. At the NFL and most sane people are done with Colin Kaepernick's BS. Yes, that's true. I kind of said that. Maybe I straddled a little bit, but yeah. They want no part of that. The NFL wants no part of that being on ESPN. And I think that was probably discussed during negotiations, being as it happened so quickly thereafter. And I don't think Spike Lee, actually, they made him sign an NDA. So he can't really talk about that part. Interesting. What else? All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to more comments. I want to get to the Rays. We got to talk some Rays, right, Nick?
Yeah, I know. They're still.
All right, and Nick's going to give us his UCF football preview as well to see what's going on with the Citronauts, Golden Knights. What are we calling them now?
It's certainly not the Golden Knights. Certainly not the Golden Knights.
Hey, we are brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Do that insurance checkup, as we tell you all the time, to save hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. Make sure you have your business insurance. Make sure you have flood insurance. Make sure you are fully insured on your home. All those three things are a must. Give them a call at 877-77-77-99 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Back in 3.
From I do to I still do, the Golden Diamond Source is there for every special moment in your lives and mine. JP here for the Golden Diamond Source. I bought my engagement ring there, and so did my co-host Nick. Great experience. And no matter what your budget is, they will guide you from your first diamond purchase to upgrading your Golden Diamond Source diamond at 100% of its value for a bigger, better diamond. That's awesome. 100% of your diamond's value. You can't get that anywhere else. Enjoy their beautiful, relaxing bridal salon and select from the most extensive collection of diamond engagement rings, anniversary rings, and wedding bands. Julie and Steve Weintraub have always told me that they want to be your family jeweler, and that has been true for me, from special presents like birthstone pendants, tennis bracelets, even diamond studs. They have it all in one place. So if you want her to say I do or I still do, be sure to choose a diamond from the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. With this record heat in Tampa Bay, you better have your AC unit running at peak efficiency. Third Generation Plumbing installs the best American standard AC units. Our split systems offer the highest efficiency available while reducing energy bills and maximizing comfort. That's why Third Generation Plumbing trusts American standard air conditioning, built to last, made to perform. Whether it's a new install or an emergency repair, our family-owned team brings 3 generations of trusted service to your home, now with the unmatched reliability of American standard. Plumbing or cooling, we've got Tampa covered. Call Third Generation Plumbing today, 813-961-8024, or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com. And we also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Genesis of Tampa. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation, and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, technology, years ahead of its time. Driven to Genesis, they are absolutely fabulous. And by the way, you can book service online, and our Genesis Experience Advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. And if available, you'll get a courtesy car and you'll get a generous offer for your trade. You can also get the Miracle Advantage plan with every Genesis, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. So visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Great vehicles, so go check them out. All right. Rays lose last game of the road trip, 7-1 at the San Francisco Giants. I don't know about you, Nikki, but I'm watching these games over this weekend just to watch the ballpark. Is that crazy? Oracle Field, they had the drone working all weekend long. These shots of Oracle Field on the water had me dreaming of a Rays stadium at Ybor Harbor, retractable roof, comes open behind home plate right there in the water with the skyline and the bay shot in the background. Oh, are you kidding me?
Well, maybe one day you'll get your wish here soon. Maybe one day, but no, it was Oracle Park is one of the best in baseball. We've known this, but yeah, the Rays don't get to play there often. So
the best. Old Ryan Bass out in his kayak yesterday. You can have a kayak.
Like he had a fun time on that road trip.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. Great job, Ryan. Well done. And Doug Wechter, the whole crew. But yeah, that is just spectacular to see that. And we could literally have that with our new ownership group coming in. And we should have that. But it just reminds me, not only do people come to the ballpark because it's closer, it'll be closer, to the majority of the population. But when you have a ballpark that's aspirational like that, inspirational, people come just to go to the art, just to be there in a place like that, a beautiful stadium, state of the art, beautiful views on the water, all the stuff around it. That's what we're talking about. I mean, imagine that, having an ownership group that you actually can root for and support, but then having a stadium like that people want to come to. It's a complete game changer. And we act like, oh, well, that would never be possible here. Should have done it long time ago. A long time ago. So, and we're going to be going through a process here in the next year or so where we're going to be talking about, there's going to be a lot of politics involved. It's going to be a lot of, is there enough public money? What public should be using it for other things, blah, 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 blah. Absolutely useful conversations. But as we've heard from Ken Hagan for many, many years, the taxpayers are going to be protected in this. A lot of creative ways to finance these things that don't go directly on the backs of the taxpayers like the St. Pete deal was going to do. So I'm very much looking forward to that process. It's going to be a little bit dirty, but I think in the end, we're going to be able to get it done. And that's the most important thing.
And I believe you said you wanted to talk to about a little bit of the stuff that was in the Times article too. And I guess the one thing that I wasn't aware of that I got out of this article, and there were a couple things here. Obviously, it sounds like they want to keep Neander and Cash in their respective positions. I know people were talking about would they blow it up and bring their own people in. They want to keep that at least to start with. They want to have Matt Silverman, which is understandable because he's been, sort of a figurehead for this organization for a long time. And I don't think any of our arrows have ever been pointed at Matt Silverman, to be honest with you. I think he has been the fall guy for a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Him and Brian Auld.
Good guy. Him and Brian. I think, obviously they've kind of carried out the marching orders of their owner. So right. I think we give them a pass. But I know a lot of you don't want to do that. I know there's been some negative blowback on that. I've gotten some, comments from folks like, wow, Silverman's going to stay. I'm like, Matt's a good dude. He's always had Tampa Bay best interest at his heart. I think he's and Brian have had to do a lot of things that they didn't like, frankly. So, and I think, from a transition standpoint, especially since they're going to be at Tropicana Field for the next 3 years, I think it could be helpful. I think long term, I think Ken Babby, who is part of the ownership group that owns the double or the AAA Jumbo Shrimp and in Jacksonville, he's got obviously some chops as a baseball man running it. So I think he'll probably be from an ownership group, the guy who's kind of directing the baseball stuff. As I've said before, I would in a heartbeat. I don't know exactly what position or where he would be, but I would bring Joe Madden in. I would bring Joe Madden in to be kind of the overseer. I love what Neander does, and I'm not saying Joe is the GM, but I think is there another position above the GM where Joe directs the philosophy.
Like a senior sort of baseball operations type deal?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Some teams might have that stuff. Obviously, that stuff's very popular in the NFL. Their senior,
the vice president of the baseball operations, where he's not calling the day-to-day shots, but he's directing the baseball operations in terms of how much we rely on analytics, how much we rely on baseball knowledge, maybe give Kevin Cash a little bit more leeway in the decisions that he makes and not be so constrained by analytics, maybe set him free a little bit of that because I think he is highly constrained by analytics in the current administration. I think that would be a positive. I don't know. I just think he's such a great baseball mind. I would have Joe Madden, especially since he lives here now. Most of the time, I would have him involved in some way. I haven't heard any specific talk of that. That's just my thought. But yeah, I was not pleased to know that Sternberg and his partners will retain a small stake in the team. Whatever.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I would say the other thing that I guess we've talked about stadium sites for a while, and I guess this jumped out to me because this is like the first time I've read it before. Was Rocky Point, the Rocky Point?
Yeah, I had not heard Rocky Point
golf course site. That's interesting because when you look at it on a map, 3 major roads, obviously for the Tampa St. Pete area, sort of run right through there. So it is, at the very least, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, right there. The airport's there. I think it would actually make it easier access for that heavily populated town and country, Oldsmar, Odessa, that northern Pinellas. Much more from that side. Yeah, I think that's an interesting spot. I had not heard that, but they certainly have the land to do it.
I think it makes more sense than West Shore Plaza, which I've always thought. I've always thought West Shore Plaza would be a nightmare for anything to be there.
Well, and I think that's the residents of West Shore would that. I don't think that would go well.
Isn't there something too about there's like an airspace type deal too?
Yeah. It's right in the flight path.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an issue. Yeah, and other things that they talked about, not necessarily more payroll, but I believe that they're going to incrementally increase payroll to almost be the league average by the time they move into the new stadium with the new revenues. I think that would be definitely something that you would look for. But I think from a baseball standpoint, I don't think much changes. And Neander has said that. And that's a good thing. To me, it's all positive. It's all, you have a group that's going to come in and be loved by the constituents. We'll get a new stadium, an iconic stadium closer to most of the fan base. They'll spend more money on players. I think they'll probably sign Junior Caminero to a long-term deal in the very near future. I think it's just all good. I think it's all good.
Go ahead. Finish your thought. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to move on the field. So if you have another thought on the new group, go ahead.
It's kind of similar. I'll just say my piece real quick. There was also like the thing that I was interested in was last night they had the Little League game, the Little League Classic between the Mariners and Mets, and Manfred was on there, and he talked about expansion. And he said that if they have expansion, it's very likely they would then do like a division realignment thing based on geography. And kind of seems like if that were to happen, it would be Rays, Marlins, Braves, and maybe that expansion team if it happens to be Nashville or if it's in the Southeast sort of region. And I was thinking about it. I know people were having we're getting all up in arms about it. And I got to tell you, from a Rays standpoint, sign me up. I would take the redone division where I don't have to have the Yankees and the Sox and the Blue Jays in it ever again, and give me the Marlins, Braves, and an expansion team. Sign me up.
I think a lot of people would be like, "Oh, I still want to be the Yankees, or Red Sox, or Blue Jays." I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a balanced schedule anyway, right?
Right. I mean, obviously you'll play your division more, but I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think it'd be a little fun for a change. Rays, Marlins, Braves, and an expansion team.
I don't know. I kind of do like hating the Red Sox and the Yankees. I kind of do enjoy that part of it. What do you guys think? Would you rather Braves? I mean, we could get a nice rivalry going with the Braves.
Yes. Like, look at how many opportunities you would have now to go to the Battery and watch the Rays play the Braves and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll pass on going to the Miami trips, but
I don't know. I think if they were in our division, I would make the trip for the stadium. A little bit of Fort Lauderdale vibe. Yeah, I mean, I might do that. Yeah, it's not gonna be Miami. I can tell you that. All right, some college football news. Jam Miller, Alabama's top tailback, has an upper body injury, and he is out for the season opener against FSU, and maybe more. Their backup from last year, Justice Haynes, left for Michigan, so they've got a lot of inexperienced running backs. Talented, very talented, but inexperienced guys behind them. Like the top returning rusher now is like 130 yards of experience. It's very odd for Alabama, but that's welcome to the portal. They got a really good offensive line, though. They probably maybe the best offensive line in college football. I'm a much better roster than FSU overall, but you lose a guy of that caliber, that's a hit. That's a hit for Alabama, especially in it's a physical run game that DeBoer wants to bring. They're starting a quarterback that has very little experience in Ty Simpson, who actually last time he started was against USF, and that was a disaster. Yeah. So is there a chance? So you're saying there's a chance that the 13.5-point FSU underdogs could beat Bama in the season opener? I think Alabama Nation would immediately call for the firing of Kalen DeBoer. It would be over. Like he'd be done right there, right then and there. I just
don't like any of this. I don't. I mean, because I'm actually quite optimistic about Florida State's chances of winning 8 football games this year. I really am, actually. I know it's a 6-win improvement, but I see it. I feel like this team is completely different. Excuse me. Goodness, choking over here. I think this team is completely different than the one you saw last year. They got the bad apples out of there, and they got the last bad apple out last week with Conrad Hussey, who there was wasn't there like a report there that he had a confrontation or an altercation with a coach, right?
Pork chop. Word is he got in a fight with Pork Chop.
Yeah, I'm delighted to see that he made some physical contact with somebody, on a football field. Because last year it seemed like
after somebody and it's a coach.
Yeah, he goes after a coach instead of a player. So happy trails to Conrad Hussey. But no, I hate that it starts with Alabama because I don't think this is what's dangerous, JP. And this happened all the time throughout the Nick Saban era. We got a little tired of Alabama, or they had one off year or whatever, and off year meaning they don't make the national championship game. And everybody just sort of like stops talking about them. Nobody's talking about Alabama this year.
I know.
They didn't just stop becoming Alabama overnight, okay? Like, I got a feeling that Bama is going to come hard this year, and they're going to really be one of the best teams in college football like we expect them, like they should be. And I think they're going to win the SEC, actually. That's my preseason prediction. So I don't like it for FSU. I don't like it for FSU that they have to start with this team right away. I really don't.
Kalen DeBoer is a good football coach. He's won everywhere he's been and won a lot. Not just a little, but a lot. That said, I mean, it's not a Nick Saban roster, but it's still a damn good roster.
Still a lot of first-round picks all over it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So it's a huge climb for FSU. I'll be interested to see, how they hold up in the trenches again. Their offensive line should be better, but again, they're going to be going up against a really good front seven in Alabama. I think it's I can't wait. I just can't wait. There's such a complete unknown.
That whole day is going to be so special. I mean, you start with the noon game of Ohio State, Texas, and then 3:30 is Florida State, Bama, and then at night LSU, Clemson.
Yeah.
August 30th, man. I'm not doing anything. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to watch these games out and about. I want to be on my couch. I'm going to be locked in.
A programming note, FSU Athletic Director Michael Alford will join us on Wednesday's show. Have you seen the new pictures of the new Doe Campbell Stadium, by the way? The renovation, the $265 million renovation.
It looks really nice. I mean, I could do without the black seats, but everything else I think looks really nice.
Yeah. That's going to be smoky. That's going to be so hot. 3:30. Yeah. Can you believe ESPN gave FSU the 3:30 slot on that?
I mean, the two big ones are noon and night, and unfortunately, FSU status was never going to give it the night game for LSU Clemson.
Isn't LSU? Where's that being played? At Mercedes-Benz, right?
Is that a neutral site?
I think. Double check me on that. But and I believe that's a dome, an air-conditioned dome. Isn't it? I don't think it's at LSU. I think it's neutral site. Check that, though.
I am.
But, yeah, we'll be outdoors at 3:30 on August 30th. Oh. Let's pray for cloud cover. I hope it.
No,
I hope
it's at Clemson.
Oh, is it at Clemson?
Yeah.
I don't think it was. It's going to be what I hate. What if there's thunderstorms and the game gets freaking delayed? Then you get your whole Saturday's messed up because the timing is perfect.
Canceled,
right? No, we can't. So yeah. Also, I mentioned Jam Miller. There's a lot of I don't know if you saw this. I retweeted it. Danny Cannell did a little thing on the FPI index, ESPN's FPI index, their power index. And it was very interesting to note that Clemson and Miami both dropped like 6 or 7 spots from June. Nothing has transpired from June that would make a team drop that many spots. But yet in their ESPN's FPI, which they use when it comes committee time, right? For strength of schedule, they use this FPI to tell us whose schedules were tougher. So all these SEC teams moved up, and those 2 ACC teams were moved down 5 and 6 spots. for no apparent reason. Why is that? And again, these are why does it matter? Not in the final rankings, but when they start telling you, oh, strength of schedule, this SEC team had this strength of schedule. And if everybody's ranked highly at the beginning of the season, that's how the computers look at it. Oh, you played the 5th ranked team at that time. They were the 9th ranked team at that time. They were the 12th ranked team. So it artificially inflates some of the strength of schedule that you'll get from the SEC at the end of the year. So just a thought.
Well, Rhett Lashley commented on it on Twitter and said, because the whole thing is rigged, is what Rhett Lashley said.
Well, there we go.
And he's been very outspoken this year about these things. I mean, I hate all the, you know how I feel about polls and all these ranking systems and whatnot. I don't understand them. I feel like they intentionally make them hard to understand for regular people. And so I never have put too much stock into this FPI, but as you sort of mentioned, this stuff somehow ends up mattering by the time we get to the end of the year and it becomes playoff time and they put all these things next to each other. Like, I'm sorry, but I really don't care about the media networks, whatever ranking they have, while that plays a role in deciding who the 12 best teams are. And I mean, that's a whole another story. The fact that it's August 18th and I thought we were past having any of this talk. And then the Big Ten puts out that, I think, just crap nonsense on Saturday about how they want to expand it to 24 or possibly 28 teams. And the way it would work, from what I understand, 7 auto Big Ten and SEC, 5 auto for ACC and Big 12, and then 2 bids for non-Power 4 and 2 at-large spots.
Why even have a regular season? What is the point?
This is not college basketball. This is not college basketball. It never should be college basketball. And by the way, the fact that there are 64 teams in the college basketball, we've always known the regular season does not mean as much in college basketball because of that. We don't need to. I'm so tired of these ideas being thrown out here. It's like we have played 1 year of the 12-team playoff, JP. We have played 1 year of it.
Which we screwed up. We screwed up, admittedly.
We screwed up, but we were begging for this for how many years to get to 12 teams? We have done it for 1 year, and now we are trying to jump to 16, to 18, to 20, to 30, to 100. Can we just relax? Can we just relax ever when it comes to this playoff stuff?
I agree with you. We don't need 16 teams in the playoff. If last year taught us anything, it's that we don't need more teams. We might need less. I mean, that was ridiculous. And the way they seeded them, and every one of this, the motivation behind the seedings and how that all screwed up is to be, quote, fair, mostly because of the FSU snub. So we want to be fair to everybody. It's just the whole everybody gets a trophy mentality. Let's have 26 teams in the playoff. No. And most of this is driven by coaches who all want to be, if I get in the playoff, my job is secure. So let's just have more playoff spots. No, it doesn't. Six conferences, 8 teams in each division, play it off to a conference championship game, which is part of the playoffs. Win your division, you get in. No more committees, no more bullshit. Just win your division, you get in. That's it. That's pretty simple stuff.
You know what I want? I want the BCS to come back. That's what I want.
Oh,
I would
computers.
If you asked me, would I rather have a committee decide all this, or would I rather have the computers decide all this? I'm taking the computers.
Absolutely.
Every day of the week.
100 out of 100.
And I'm not saying, by the way, the old BCS where you have 2 teams. I would stick with 12, and I would literally just let the freaking computer rank 12 teams.
Yeah.
And so you can yell at the computers all you want.
Of course, you'd have to choose what inputs go into the computer, so we'd still have some human error. But the committee thing is such nonsense, such contrived BS that I can completely do without that, without question. All right, we'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll get some more of your comments. I want to get to some other tidbits that we have today on some more college football. And Nick's going to have our UCF college football preview. Are the Citronauts going to be in play for a Big 12 championship? Quick break. Back in 3. Stay with us. That's a no.
JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. That's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles! 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine & DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine & DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine & DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine & DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio on most days. at Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus room, a full production studio where we do the show, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, a golf simulator, and exclusive events. So for young entrepreneurs or seasoned professionals, it's a perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal and celebrate the win only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Great place to hang out. Not where we're hanging out today, but on most days. We'll be back in studio tomorrow. Scott Reynolds will be joining us tomorrow, I believe. And on Wednesday, Michael Alford, Florida State Athletic Director, will be joining us. And then in 2 weeks, the Friday before the FSU-Alabama game, we will be live at Bowden's, right across from Doak Campbell Stadium on that Friday. Pat Burnham will be joining me to co-host on that day, and we will hopefully have some FSU alumni stopping by before the big game on Saturday. So we'll be previewing all the college football live in Tallahassee. Taking the show on the road, Nick. What do you think about that?
It's that time of the year. The JP Peterson Show has been in many places over the past calendar year, even out of the country.
We have been. Yeah, we're coming up on our anniversary of our trip to Dublin. We've done shows from Tallahassee. We've done shows from San Antonio, Chicago.
You did Nashville rooftops.
Rooftop in Nashville, absolutely. We'll be heading back to Chicago for the upcoming Rays series at Wrigley in September. I was there. Last time I was there, I think it snowed on us. Cullen and I took in a game at Wrigley on April 7th, I believe it was, and we got snowed on.
Yikes.
But they kept the beer very cold. So that was a positive. But this time we will be I don't know where we're going to be sitting, but I think our good friend Kyle Tucker, friend of the show, will be.
Yeah, can you give Kyle some claps, because yesterday he was getting booed by the Wrigley crowd.
I know. Saw that. He hasn't hit a home run since July, sometime
July
in July.
1st. July 1st.
Yeah.
But I recalled Jason Romano on this show saying that he'd been dealing with a wrist injury.
Yeah, a wrist injury and a finger injury on his right hand.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like, though, like that's been made like super public, because like fans are just dogging him for his underperformance over the last 2 months.
Come on, man. I mean, he's still well over average OPS. Lonnie Wilkins chiming in says, I'm working the Rays versus Cubs weekend at Wrigley Sunday. Bill Murray should be there. Bill Murray bobblehead day on Sunday. So we're flying out at 5:00 that day. So I don't think we'll be able to get to Wrigley that day for the Bill Murray bobblehead. Be nice though. Lonnie says, attended Banana Ball on Saturday, was quite the show. It's certainly different, but was loaded with families and kids. Yeah, the moms love the Banana Ball. Mm-hmm.
Not my thing.
Lonnie says, can new ownership cash in on Stu like Seth Rollins did Nick? Nick?
Would be kind of cool.
Is that a wrestling reference?
That is 100% a wrestling reference that I was like trying to figure out how to even explain that to you. Seth Rollins faked an injury. They played it as real, but they actually like had it to be fake, but they fooled everybody on purpose so that you could be out of sight, out of mind. And then at SummerSlam, he came out on his crutches and threw the crutches to the side and came in, and he had the Money in the Bank briefcase, which grants you a championship match anywhere at any time. And he went in and cashed in on CM. He went in and he ran into the ring and cashed in on CM Punk. And that was the whole story. He faked an injury so that Punk would forget about him. And then he came back and he beat him because Punk had just had a 30-minute match.
So he was taking advantage of a wounded man.
Correct.
Okay. I got you. All right. I don't know how that would play with Stu, but Daniel Rivera said, did you see the Facebook post from Councilman Gibbons this morning regarding Tropicana Field? No, Daniel, I did not. Could you please Forward that to me, or maybe I'll look it up here in a second while Nick gives us a UCF preview. What's going on with the Citronauts? What are we calling them now?
First of all, they are the UCF Knights, otherwise known as the Citronauts. They're not the Golden Knights. I don't know how many times I see big media articles just refer to them as the Golden Knights, or TV call them the Golden Knights. They haven't been the Golden Knights for like 20 years, so please stop saying it. But anyway, a lot of change this year at UCF, as you've heard me mention a little bit throughout the offseason. Scott Frost is back for the first time since 2017 when he led this program to its undefeated national championship winning season. And obviously he had a lot of trouble last time he was a coach in Nebraska. He had a year off, and then he resurfaced on Sean McVay's coaching staff this past year and now was brought back. Alex Grinch is now the DC. And if you recall, he used to be Lincoln Riley's defensive coordinator at USC and was fired because UFC's defense was just not really good at all. So UCF has taken a lot of chances here on a coach that has not been in college football for 3 years, and a DC, the last time we saw him, was fired at a big-time program. That being said, the vibes are high because Scott is beloved at UCF. He was only there for 2 years, but this guy is super beloved. The players, I've gotten a chance to do a fun series over on my Charge On UCF podcast where we played golf with two of the offensive linemen and then did an interview with them and everything. And we made this great video. It's up on our YouTube page. Cool. Recommend that. So we got a good feel from the players of what's going on at camp and everything. And they love Scott Frost and they speak really glowingly about him and everything. So the vibes are high with this program again because they were really low last year after a 4-win season under Gus Malzahn. They're not going to make a Big 12 championship game. I'll just say that right now. I think they're probably going to be fighting to make bowl eligibility this year. And if they make a bowl game this year, if they win 6 games, honestly, that would be amazing because this is a big roster turnover. 70 new players in total have come in this year. And that's a lot of players, obviously, to have to like fit into your program and find an identity of who you want to be. And the quarterback competition that everybody is focusing on is still ongoing. 3 names for you. Cam Fancher, who was the FAU quarterback, he transferred in. Taven Jackson, who was the backup at Indiana last year, is also competing. And then, of course, Jakari Brown, who, if you recall, used to be at Miami. Second year for him at UCF. So it's a 3-way battle for quarterback. It feels like it might be leaning Cam Fancher just because he was he was running with the ones on Monday, but it's probably going to be something that bleeds into the regular season because they have 2 cupcake games to start before they play North Carolina and Bill Belichick in week 3, which is going to be exciting. That game's going to be at the Bounce House. But yeah, overall, I think if they can get to 6 wins, that would be, I think, a big success story for this team, which has a lot of unknowns on it.
So what's best case scenario you think? For win-loss record?
I guess if everything goes right, I could see 8-4. If everything goes right. On the flip side of that, I do think their floor is probably somewhere around 3 or 4 wins because there's just so much new. And I really don't have a good feel for any of these quarterbacks because Cam Fancher was at FAU and he played, but he didn't play well. But how much of that was the fact that it was FAU? He didn't have the greatest players around him. Taven Jackson was a backup at Indiana. Jakari Brown, we saw him a little bit last year at UCF and not a great thrower. Not great. He's good for run packages and things like that. It's just so much unknown. Like if you were to go look at the UCF depth chart, it's just not a guys who stick out. The guy who's going to be probably the wide receiver 1, DJ Black, is coming from Limestone College. I don't know how many of you have actually heard of Limestone College before. I didn't until they got him. So just a lot of new going on at UCF
Limestone
this year.
College. Yeah. So in general, moving into the Big 12, how has this experience been? How do you see it as a UCF fan?
I mean, I think it's definitely beneficial because of now the revenue that they were able to get from this, and it took some time for them to get up to speed on all of that. But at the end of the day, you could call it a power 2 if you want, but it is a power 4. We still call it that. And the Big 12 definitely helps you from that standpoint. It's cool from the perspective of the road games you get to go play and play in these nice stadiums out in the Midwest and now out West when it comes to like BYU and things like that, better competition. But it has been a struggle for UCF. I mean, they won one conference game last year. The year before that wasn't much better. I think the roster told you that they probably should have been better, but I think a lot of that was on coaching. So it's been a struggle from a competition standpoint. But I think when you look at where college football is going right now, being in the Big 12 is still better than being in the American and fighting your way to try to have some expansion.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, you look at the home schedule for USF this year. Wow. It doesn't read like major college football, unfortunately. And that's what you're always going to face. As much as you want to, you can have a lot of USF fans wanting to cheer on their team. But, when you're bringing in Big 12 teams and they're on the schedule, and even, North Carolina, and you've got what's their home schedule look like, UCF?
This year, home schedule is Jack State, North Carolina, AT&T. Those are the out of conference. And then home schedule is North Carolina, Kansas, West Virginia, Houston, and Oklahoma State.
Okay. Yeah. South Florida's home schedule is Boise State, top 25 team, playoff team last year. Again, then they're at Florida, at Miami, then South Carolina State, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, UTSA, and Rice. I mean, I'm a huge Bulls supporter and a huge Bulls fan. That's a tough sell. That's a tough sell. South Carolina State, Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, UTSA, Rice. Wow.
Hopefully it's a lot of wins, though.
Yeah. That's what you're hoping. That's where we're going with this. Now, for me, USF is at Florida, week 2, 4:15 game, brutal. At Miami, 4:30, brutal. I mean, getting through those 2 games without losing Byron Brown is if they can get to South Carolina State if they could somehow get one win at 1-2, huge win. At Florida, they've been competitive when they've played Alabama, they played Florida, played Miami. They've been competitive. So then you get to South Carolina State, Charlotte, North Texas, Florida Atlantic, at Memphis, UTSA at home, at Navy.
I didn't realize that USF had to play Boise, Florida, and Miami back to start the season.
3 top 25 teams.
I mean, they're staring 0-3 in the face.
Yeah, obviously. But not only 0-3, but you in a program that doesn't have a whole lot of depth, what does that look like? From a physical standpoint.
And the crazy thing is, I look at the rest of the schedule now, like I favor their chances of winning every other game. I mean, I think Memphis could be a toss-up and Navy could be a toss-up. I favor them in every other game if they can run through that, but they're going to have to literally do all of that just to get to 7 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a tough. I did not realize they had those 3 games to start. That's kind of weird how the schedule worked out that way.
Yeah. And that's just, it's brutal. It's almost like put the backup quarterback in. Things get ugly. If you can have Byron Brown healthy going into, and listen, South Florida's not running away from any of these teams. They're not running away from Boise, Florida, or Miami. They go toe-to-toe with any of them. They've proven that over the last couple of years, especially against Alabama. So I'm not here to say you can't win any of those games.
Also, Boise's like 25 coming in.
Yeah.
It's because they made the playoff last year.
Right.
Like all the great players that were on that team, obviously Jensen being the big one, gone.
Quarterback gone. Yeah. They've lost a lot. So
Yeah, I
that's
won't
the one.
completely rule him out on that one. Yeah,
If you can ambush Boise State, if you could somehow, I mean, it's a Thursday night, 5:30. I'll be there. I'm probably gonna take off right after that game and drive to
5:30 is
Tallahassee.
crazy. What at 5:30 is Thursday at 5:30?
Yeah.
Come on. Who decided that?
The American, probably, ESPN, obviously.
5:30 on a Thursday during the
They
school
must
year?
have they must have like a nightcap game there, a Central Time game, and then a West Coast game on that Thursday. If you want to check out the whole schedule. So yeah.
What?
5.
How does it make any sense?
It's weird. But listen, if you got tickets to the game, chances are, you'll find you can get it's quote after work. But what's the tailgate going to look like? Well, it is what it is. But you're going to be the only game on at 5:30. It'll be nice exposure, right? Be hot as hell, but whatever. So that's where you start. All right. By the way, so Daniel mentioned Corey Gibbons' post on St. Pete City Council. He was at the Trop last week inspecting the damage. I don't know if did you see that? I couldn't. Hold on. See some of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there's some other pictures on here, like you get inside the Trop.
Ugh, sad.
Yeah, it's not good. So he writes, inspecting the scope of the damage sustained at Tropicana Field, city is spending roughly $60 million of taxpayer dollars on ensuring that the stadium is ready for the MLB season opener in April. I'm only interested in meeting our contractual obligations by completing the work that has been started with nothing extra. That's the whole, and that's the whole feeling of the council. They don't want to do this. So what does that mean for fans? Means you're not going to get a whole lot of nice new things unless the new ownership group steps up and pays for a bunch of stuff, which I'm not sure how much money you want to put into that over, for 3 years. They're going to be taken out. I don't know. I have no idea what their plans are for that, but it's just such a bad situation. It's just such a bad situation.
I just pray, and obviously, more importantly, not just because of the Trop, obviously for everybody else, but we as a market seem to have dodged the fact that there is a huge storm out in the ocean right now that fortunately is going to make a right-hand turn and not affect anybody, it sounds like. But after what we saw last year and the fact that these storms are just so intense and everything, and they're just going to keep coming left and right up until November. I mean, you just have to pray, obviously, that doesn't. You don't want a repeat of last year, because then what does that do to things until you have a roof on that thing?
Then you're stuck. Then you're stuck in.
Like, I hate to think like that, but it's hard not to.
No, how can you think about this? If the roof is going to be put on in increments during the middle of hurricane season, so how much easier, when you have a contained roof, obviously it's designed to withstand 130 mile an hour winds. If half the roof is on, and when the one wind's coming up under it, it's not designed to have wind coming up under it. It's going to blow right off again. It's going to be, and if that happens, city's still obligated to provide a measurement. I mean, and who's paying for the insurance now? And what's the insurance going to cost? You go back to the fact that, the freaking stadium was 10 years obsolete already. The roof was 10 years longer than it was life was supposed to mean. And people are like, oh, who could have predicted that the roof would blow off? I'm like, I'm shocked it lasts that long with all the hurricanes we have. So yeah, that's why there should have been more urgency by the owner to get a new stadium done. One of the many things he didn't really care about. Yeah, and everyone, there's 23 comments on here too. And every one of them is like, why are we even doing this? It's a disaster.
I don't know.
Guess what? You know what? It's football season. It's football season, and we cannot wait.
Well, I hope you'll have fun tomorrow when the Yankees are back in town, because it's probably not going to be too many Rays fans there. So
no, I think there will be. Well, there'll be a lot of Yankee fans. Well, yeah, you're right, because it kind of prices out the Rays fans.
It'd be what it be.
Yeah, probably. I'm going to a Cardinals game and a Mariners game coming up soon, so I'm going to catch as many games as I can before time runs out on the Steinbrenner Field Experience outdoors, which I absolutely love. If you haven't taken in a game, go to TickPick and get your cheap tickets for the. You can get tickets for $26 for the Cardinals series, the Mariners series. The Yankees is a little bit more expensive, but some of those other games you can still get really cheap tickets. So take advantage of it while you can, for sure. All right, Nikki, great job. Anything else you want to add today that we didn't get to?
We don't have to do a full thing on it, but obviously Scotty Scheffler again yesterday. Goodness gracious. Everybody's like, oh, Scotty is so good, but he's never had a signature shot. Well, there it is. That was it.
I've never had a signature shot.
Yeah, like everybody's always just been like, oh, there's not a shot that you remember that Scotty Scheffler had. Well, yeah, there it is. So
I remember lots of shots he's hit at Augusta and other to win majors.
Yeah, people just don't pay attention.
That shot was just ridiculous. With the break on that, if you didn't see the chip in yesterday, I mean, just on 17, you got to have it. Just unbelievable, unfreaking believable. By the way, I'll end with this stat. If you invested in Scotty Scheffler, bet him to win every tournament he's played in since 2021, your return on investment, 68%. The S&P in that time, 38%. Not bad in 5 years. But Scotty Scheffler, 68%. That's how much you would have made if you bet him to win every week. So, yeah. And he'll go into – we don't have that big concocted lead that we normally have at Eastlake this year. So he'll just go and just win again. I mean, he's
now been – yeah, I guess my last stat here is he's been number one in the world now for 118 weeks straight. If all he's got to do is hold on to it until Halloween 2028, and he'll finally catch Tiger Woods. So there you go. And by the way, I think he's going to.
Wes O'Connor, I haven't seen you. JP couldn't wait to crap all over Trask. He crapped all over himself, bro. That wasn't my work. That was his.
Yikes. Let's roll the music and get out of here.
Sorry, Gator. That's the way it is. All right, everybody. Don't forget Michael Alford joining us on Wednesday, FSU Athletic Director, setting the pace for new stadiums. So we'll chat with him about all that cool stuff when we that'll be on Wednesday. And we'll see you tomorrow.